Alright guys, today if you have a martial arts gym and you're suffering from a problem of you get a lot of leads, but actually getting those leads to show up into your door is a struggle, right? So there's a big reduction in number of the leads you get to people who actually show into your doors. I'm going to tell you exactly how you can fix this. Now, there's only four things that actually impact. So four different variables that impact this process. And I'm going to be explaining this all to you today. So by the end of this video, you'll be able to fix your own show up rate and you'll be able to get more deals closed because of this, right? So the first thing that we actually need to understand about show up rate, and it's not really hard once you understand everything, you've just been looking in the wrong direction, right? So the first thing is speed, right? It's how fast you actually get back to someone after they've opted in for one of your services. So they've become a lead, right? If it's not within 5 minutes and you don't have a genuine follow-up process of someone dedicating their time to follow up, to call them, to book them in, then you've probably already lost them, right? They've put their phone away, they've forgotten about your ad that they've signed up for, right? They don't even remember your gym at all, right? So really speed to lead is essential if we want to get that show up rate because we want to get people answering the phone. This is where they're at their most prime to book an appointment with you straight away and actually want to engage with you and talk to you about your service, what different types of martial arts that you potentially offer, right? So we really need to prioritize that speed. The second thing would be availability, right? So if they can't book a time that suits them, they're just going to move on. So if they get to your calendar page and they want to book a time to come in for a trial, but there's only two different classes throughout the whole week. So a 6 o'clock class, right? And a 7 o'clock class. This might not be enough time for them to actually come in. They may need to come in earlier, right? A big problem with martial art gyms that the normal weight industries don't face is the fact that you are limited by the time slot. You can't come in at any time, which really reduces your availability, which in return reduces the amount of schedules that you could schedule people in, right? So availability is really something that you need to look at. Scheduling class times around when people are most available. Third, and this is a big one here, it's personalization, right? So if text messages are sounding robotic, if they're sounding copy and pasted, right, like it's obviously an AI that's messaging people, then that's quite one of the biggest red flags in a lead's point of view, right? They can sense when something's fake. If it's not a real, genuine person reaching out to them, at least the messages don't convey that they're real, then essentially what you're doing is you create a robotic field like they're not nurtured and cared for. So what you need to do is actually have that speed, have the availability there, but have the personalization there. So every single lead feels like it's going through a genuine and warm conversation. There's a clear process on how you nurture a lead from someone who knows nothing about your business to actually telling them about your business, making them interested to show up for a class, right? Making them excited and actually getting someone to hop in their car, drive to the location, and attend a class, right? This all is done by personalization. So really, guys, include photos, right? That's a big one. Photos, it can be selfies, it could be memes in your nurture and how you nurture leads to get them to show up. But these are the big movers in how you're going to see show up rates of upwards to 80%. If you want to increase your show up rate, you need to be personalizing your messages and it actually has to be conveyed as personalized. So you can't just put a hey Jackson, right? First name isn't personalized enough. We need to really get in deeper, and we really need to show that we're understanding the prospects. Ways that we can do this is by introducing yourself, right? Telling them that you're going to be waiting for them personally, and you're so excited to meet them, right? Because as a coach, as an owner, you should be excited to meet the leads. So this also conveys that more it's more personalized if you're going to be there waiting for them as soon as they come in, right? It's a lot more personalized, and it's simple things like this that you can do to add personalization into your text messages, and essentially build a system that works by itself, right? And the last one really is volume, right? So most schools, they're only following up with leads for 2 to 3 days, and then they give up. But really, honestly, guys, the truth is you're going to need at least 7 to 10 touch points, right? And that's before someone even answers, right? And what this means is you really need a dedicated follow-up process. We follow up with leads for up to 13 days, right? We call leads when they opt in. So we call them 3 times every single day for the first 4 days, and then it drops down to 2 times a day. And we also send them SMSs, and I can link our procedures down below. But that's essentially what we do. So there's multiple touch points, right? And you may say, Jackson, this sounds really extreme. Well, yeah, it is. That's why we get extreme results, and that's why we get people to show up, and that's why we get results, right? Because we have such an extreme procedure. And the truth is, when you actually do this, you'd find people aren't as annoyed because they don't even know who you are until they answer. So yeah, once you have all these systems in place, right, and they're all in KPI, it's impossible for not to work. Now, if you implement everything that I've just said, you can go in and instantly increase your show rate. What you need to do is it's quite simple. You need to hire someone to sit by the phone and literally call the leads the second they come in, right? You need to train them, you need to manage them, you need to make sure they don't miss calls or texts. You have to learn how to run ads, you have to learn how to track metrics, you have to learn how to analyze what's working and what's not working, write follow-up scripts, build the automations. So you can totally do everything I've just mentioned, and you will literally improve your follow-up sequence as well. Now, there's some extra points that I'll go into. Let me just bring up my slides. So, guys, best practices for scheduling people in. Of course, you don't want to ever schedule leads out 3 days, right? So 3 days is the absolute max. We typically drag it out to 4 for martial arts schools, only because what we found from our research is there's since there's only ever 3 to 4 times that they martial arts schools have, um, which really limits how it limits how how many people can actually attend, right? So we do extend this a little bit more, but you do want people to be coming in as soon as possible. That's really going to be the major thing because this is where their interest is at all-time high. It's their peak in the product. So you ideally want to be scheduling people in 24 hours, right? Or 48 hours, no later, right? You need to have scarcity and urgency when you're really talking to people, right? So when you actually have real scarcity and real urgency, so many people that I speak to, right, they tell me that they actually, they tell them that this deal's going to run out. But the problem is, right, you actually have to believe the scarcity or clients won't, right? Scarcity, it's a transfer of energy, and if you can't transfer that energy, then your clients aren't going to believe it, and they're going to call you out straight away. They're going to know instinctively that it's not really like there's no limit, right? So you really want to make missing the appointment really their last chance because schedules should realistically rarely close. Um, you want to have a hard no reschedulation policy. So if you don't reschedule, simply say because you're too booked out and you only work with people who actually keep their word. This is what we call a really psychological commitment, right? Because it builds down commitment right here. And it's something that we call labeling as well when we do this. So, guys, it's recommended that we do 15 outreach attempts in 3 days, right? So, this is a mixture of calling, emailing, SMSing, and voicemails as well. Don't be afraid to follow up, right? People forget things all the time, right? So people forget their kids at the daycare. They're going to forget about showing up to your trial class, right? This is just a given. The more reminders we can give, the better chance that we actually will have someone turn up. And on the day, right, you want to send 2 texts. So the first text will be 24 hours before, and then the next text would be 1 hour before as well. Ideally, with a follow-up call from your receptionist or from you personally, right, calling them to say that you're excited to meet them, right? You just want to, you're going to be waiting for them. The more times where you can give up your time as the owner to contact leads, to show that you care, to let them know that you're reaching out to them, the higher your metrics will be. So that being said, if you implement everything that I've just said here today, I absolutely guarantee you, you will increase your show rate from what it is now, where it's probably at that 10 to 20%, literally to 60, 70% show up rate, right? And you essentially fix your whole infrastructure of marketing, because if we could just get more people to show up, right? You could close more people, and that's all we need at the end of the day is you to close more deals. Um, and this is how we help you close more deals, if that makes sense. Anyway, if you like this video, if you want me to solve this problem for you, totally done for you on a pay and results basis, then click the link in the description. I think you will find my product very, very useful and very good. So just being totally honest, I have something to sell you, right? If you do click the product, if not, it's totally fine. Don't worry about it. Okay, it probably wouldn't work for you anyway. Thank you so much if you watched this.